this a... If the poison won't take you, my dogs will.
I assume that's the name of the song.
By Lingua, Ignota. From the album Caligula. Caligula was a horrible emperor during the Roman times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
This is for the Anarchy 99 Alliance. How the alliances start, ladies and gentlemen. You will notice with other reaction channels, please go and watch them, support them, love them, they're awesome, they're great. Most of them started before we did. You will notice that they will chop up their songs every 20-30 seconds or so, and you'll notice that we don't. There's a good reason why they do it. The reason is because you put an ad at the front of your video. You'll usually see a horrible Biden ad or a horrible Trump ad at the front of the video. And what ends up happening is Google gets a cut and you get a cut. Well, if you listen to the song all the way through with no cuts, then the record label takes your cut. You get a nifty little message from YouTube that says, hey, your channel's okay, but we're taking your cut. We tried to do different ways to modify it when we realized that's what was going on. But our group, our community basically said, they said, we like it straight from the front to the back. So the way that we decided to offset that loss was $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance, you pool your points together, and then you decide collectively what songs we do. And so Anarchy 99 chose this song, and so we're doing this song with them. So $1 at the gate gets you in. You get recruited by these folks. They're kind of genre specific. There's a black metal, there's an extreme metal, etc., etc., etc. If you're a filthy capitalist like Sori and you're an individualist and you're selfish and you don't want to work as a team, then
you know exactly what song you want.
You can take
right on the short list immediately.
The fast pass option, $125, gets you straight to the head of the line. You determine specifically what song we do. You do that 3 times, you get bumped down to $75.
You can do that either through Patreon or PayPal. Either way, links are in the description. Also, there's Cash App there and stuff. So, whatever is most convenient for you,
if the poison won't take you, my dogs will.
Yes, I hope this is a good one. Revengey.
Lingua Ignota. I've never heard of this band before.
That last song.
Anyway, just hit play. Don't tell me about it.
And
go!
you join me? Will you join me? Make worthless your body so no man can break it. Humble yourself. If the poison won't take you, my dogs will. Unburden yourself. No shadow will darken your door like mine will.
Jeez. I think that they had a picture of a lady on the side.
That's
that lady.
Eileen Warnos?
I think that she was put on death row.
Why do you think that?
Because I remember, like, Johan had put those different shows on. We were watching about the, like, strange food around. And then I think, like, the next one that came on was, like, strange requests of people on death row. And, like, some people, like, requested a whole table of food, but then said, I don't want it. And it made them so angry then they didn't let other people have that. But I thought I saw her picture come up. I told them, like, stop putting all this death stuff on. But it was food related, so I think that's why it had come up. Was she put on death row, or did her face look?
No, that's Eileen Carolee Warnos Prail, or Pittman, was an American serial killer and prostitute who murdered 7 men in Florida in 1989 and 1990 by shooting them at point-blank range. Warnos claimed that her victims had either raped her or attempted to rape her while she was servicing them, and that all the homicides were committed in self-defense. She was sentenced to death for 6 of the murders and was executed by lethal injection.
Yep.
Oh, and the film Monster, 2003 film Monster chronicles Warnos' story from childhood until her first murder conviction. It stars Charlize Theron as Warnos, a performance that earned her an Academy Award for Best Actress. Jeez.
That's really...
Warnos never met her father as he was incarcerated at the time of her birth. Leo Dale Pittman was diagnosed with schizophrenia and later convicted of sex crimes against children.
Oh my gosh.
Eventually died of suicide by hanging in prison. In January 1960, when Warnos was almost 4 years old, Diane abandoned her children, leaving them with their maternal grandparents, Lori and Britta Warnos, both alcoholics who illegally adopted Keith and Eileen on March 18, 1960. By the age of 11, Warnos began engaging in sexual activities in school in exchange for cigarettes, drugs, and food. She also engaged in sexual activity with her brother. Warner said that her alcoholic grandfather had sexually assaulted and beaten her when she was a child. Before beating her, he would force her to strip out of her clothes. In 1970, at age 14, she became pregnant, having been raped by an accomplice of her grandfather. Warner gave birth to a boy at a home for unwed mothers in March 23rd, 1971, and the child was placed for adoption. A few months after her son was born, she dropped out of school. About the same time, her grandmother died of liver failure when Warner was 15. Her grandfather threw her out of the house. She began supporting herself as a prostitute and living in the woods near her old home. See, this is why I don't subscribe to the death penalty. Because I know she killed those guys. Well, I mean, she doesn't deny killing them.
Mm-hmm.
But, and you know, she's gone, so you can't psychoanalyze her. But you would have to assume that she put herself in a situation where dudes were trying to take advantage of her sexually so that she could regain some power that was taken from her, because in her early years she was sexually assaulted. There's nothing she could do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she went and did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm assuming, so her grandfather got away with it, much less the other people who assaulted her. I mean, her dad.
That's so infuriating.
Didn't it say that her dad?
Yes. He was
for sexually abusing kids? So I'm supposed to believe that she wasn't the victim. I mean, she was
disgusting grandfather.
Well, the grandfather did, but the dad did too.
I know, but the thing is, when a child is being punished, like, let's say she did something that was wrong, you know, when she was being punished, like, already there's, like, that bad feeling that comes with being punished for what you've done. But, like, to make her take all of her clothes off, I could just hate that guy. Oh, my word. Oh, that makes me so mad.
Warnoff's never met her father. Okay, so Leo Dale Pittman was her father. He was schizophrenic and he was a pedophile. He raped kids. And then Diane abandoned her children, leaving them with their maternal grandparents, both alcoholics. So that the mom leaves her daughter with two alcoholics who, the dad, and so, like, this happened to her, and God knows what else happened to this woman. All the people that did that crap to her basically got away with it. Mm-hmm. And then she gets a death penalty. She killed people. I get it. But it's very interesting when the song starts and ends with God Have Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that there's going to be a lot of surprises when this is all over.
Mm-hmm.
In that... and she ends up with the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was having a very difficult conversation with Ian and Josh about, abortion in the cases of rape or whatever. And I'm not really going to get into abortion here, but one of the things I was talking about was our experience with girls who've been sexually assaulted, and the vast majority of them, pretty much in every case with the downtown area, and especially girls like in Eileen's situation, the guy almost never gets held accountable. Mm-hmm. Ever. And I said, look, the abortion doesn't heal the woman, but it creates an extra victim. I understand, though, the psychology of saying, because a lot of people, you know, like there's the big porn guy we were talking about a couple of days ago, where he's getting charged with 4 counts of rape, Ron Jeremy. And this guy has been in the sex industry for, like, I don't know, 2 decades or something, like 20 years. Like, he's had, like, it's not about that, it's about power. So if you take that logic and say it's about power, and then this guy rapes this girl, and then now she's got his child growing in there.
Like the uncle hadn't done enough shit as it was. Then he conspires with this other guy, and gets her raped by him, and then that's how she gets pregnant. Is that not what you read?
I mean, I read it. I was trying really not to pay attention to it, but yeah. Hold on, let me.
Absolutely.
But my point was, you know, I understand why a woman would say, "I'm not gonna," because it's a way of getting back some sort of power, right? So I understand how it could result in the death of that child. It's not necessarily she hates the child or whatever. It's the power that was taken from her that she's finding some way to regain her own autonomy.
And there's like lots of stories where you hear about, you know, people that have engaged in prostitution, and then like there are certain things that the person, I don't think that, I think that we should create jobs for women where they can make enough money where they don't have to resort to that, because you can see that her life was obviously in a place where she had no other choice, or it seems that she had, that's why she was doing it. She got kicked out. She was living in the woods, like she was, so it's like, and you hear about these stories where, okay, they're paying for a certain activity, and even though I don't think that that's right to treat somebody like that or to take advantage of somebody when they're in a bad situation, like they're paying for a certain thing, then a lot of times these girls get the hell beat out of them. They get raped. They get all these things happen to them, and people are like, oh, well, it's just a prostitute. No, she
100%.
agreed to a certain thing under duress. For
100%.
one thing. But if you take that out of it and you just say, well, I mean, she agreed to this, this, and this, then the person goes and does more, because she said that when she was servicing people, but it didn't say what. Now we know it was probably in stuff like that. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, people took advantage in those situations. You hear about it all the time.
Yeah.
So.
And the one time one of them fights back, we're going to give her the death penalty.
Yeah.
Look, man, just like I say that
Thank you very much for that system. What a disgusting
Just
thing.
like I said, that there are people that benefit from systemic racism, there's a message being sent here.
Absolutely.
There's a message being sent here.
Absolutely.
If you're a sex worker, you're a prostitute, whatever, you have no bodily autonomy whatsoever.
See,
and if you try to stand up for yourself, you're not like a regular woman. We're gonna kill you.
Yeah.
I have
a problem with them calling her a serial killer too. A serial killer to me is you've targeted people for, like, they haven't done anything to you. It's just this, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, here's my thing. Okay. She was a prostitute since she was 15 years old. She got executed in 2002, right? Now, this is going to sound crazy to some people. She only killed 7 people. That means that she did not kill every single one of her customers. There's no way. There's no way. So what that tells me is that she either agreed to X, like, I'll do this for this amount of money, and then the person took it to another degree, because you can do that to sex workers now. You can do, and by the way,
what do you mean you can do that to sex workers now?
Because of how society is structured, the minute that the girl agrees to exchange money for sexual activity, it is very difficult for them to prove that they were sexually assaulted. Because if she says, I will do this, and then the guy wants to do X, Y, or Z, she basically has lost all of her autonomy.
And it doesn't matter. Once they hear she's a prostitute, she loses her value.
Well, look, even if you're not a prostitute, the vast majority of rape cases go unreported or unrequited. Like, nothing happens to the rapist. I mean, we all saw what happened with Brock Turner.
Yep.
So, can you imagine being a sex worker and the stigma that happens to that? And by the way, I had a guy say, yeah, and that's why we need to make it legal. No.
Oh my gosh.
No. Well, look, I understand why people will go there, but that doesn't help. I'll tell you why. New Zealand decided to legalize all three phases of the sex industry, and they immediately, in the next year, ended up on the as a destination country for sex traffickers. So that doesn't help women. We actually did a debate one time with a guy on it. We'll put the link down there. If you are a good-natured person who believes this will help women, watch the debate. I'll put it right here at this timestamp, right up here, and you can watch the debate and you can see that is not the case. And the people that are screaming the highest about it are women. So that's not the case.
And all the girls that I know that are engaging in that line of stuff on the side are all girls that have children.
Correct.
That are unable to support their children unless they do that.
Right. And if you're a far right person saying this is terrible, what do you think the economic conditions are for people who are in this situation? You think maybe if we had more social programs, that maybe a lot of women wouldn't be in a situation where they feel they have to use this as an option? Now, I'm not saying every single sex worker is in that situation. You know what I'm talking about. So, I don't believe in this rugged individualism. I believe that societies are culpable for what happens to the individual. And at some level, we are culpable for this situation. Now, the grandfather is an evil bastard, and his accomplice, whoever he was an evil bastard. So, you know, the fact that the theoretical consideration of female sexual predator serial killers in the United States, that's the name of the document that was referenced here. It's like, you can never justify killing anyone because I'm consistently pro-life, but I don't believe that she should have been executed. Mm-hmm. And I do believe her when she says that they were trying to sexually assault her. But even now, when I read that first line, when it said that the people she was servicing tried to rape her, there's a lot of people that are like right now confused. They're like, what do you mean? She's a prostitute. Mm-hmm. What do you mean you tried to rape her? Right. If she agreed to a particular sexual act, and then the person tried to take it further, that's called rape. That's what that's called. Mm-hmm. And honestly, biblically speaking, you get executed for raping people. So she went Old Testament on these people. She took justice into her own hands.
The reason that she did that was because the system is set up in such a way where there was no protection from her from the time that she was a child.
You couldn't get this girl any clemency whatsoever.
My God.
Okay. But there's a message being sent there.
There is.
There's a message being sent there. Just like there's a message being sent about, we're going to put you in jail for 10 years for defacing this statue, but the killers of Breonna Taylor are still walking the street. There's a message being sent. Mm-hmm. And there's a message being sent there. Mm-hmm. And look, she's got to answer to God. I'm not saying that because those people she killed had family and probably kids of their own who missed that or whatever. Okay? I understand all of that. But I don't know the details of all these cases, so I can't say it. You know, I remember the Charlize Theron thing, The Monster, the movie, because there was a big hype about it, and she got Academy Awards and all that, and you know, I understand, you know, but I can't watch that movie, obviously, because like I said, I know my limits, and I think it's important for people to protect their mental health in this day and age. But it's a tough situation, and I'm very thankful that she started and ended the song with Lord Have Mercy, because you know, the Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and rich in love. The Lord is good to all. He has compassion on all He has made, and I'm very, very, very hopeful that that God would be merciful to this woman. And so
when the song started out, I thought that it was a person's name. And then
because Kyrie Irving is
to me sounded like a really obsessive person that was like saying, I'll only say this one, I'm the best friend you'll ever have. All this is meaningless without me. You know what I mean? Like it sounded like a really obsessed, like creepy sort of friend that you don't want. And then as the thing continued, I started you told me that it meant God of mercy, and I was like, And then, you know, as it progressed, like just she has that same sound that, you know, not the same sound, but it has the same, I don't know how to explain it, the same soul sound as
this woman was massively disturbing to me. This is the most disturbing song I've ever heard in my life. You know what's interesting?
In this moment, whore.
Yeah.
It has that same, you know, like.
although this
cries from inside.
when she gets technical, I think she's very, very good.
She did an incredible job with this, and like it. There are certain pains that only women, like, I think that you try to relate and try to understand, but there are certain things that only we can understand. And
100%.
You know, the way that, you know, especially if abuse started from when you were very young, like, you know, those feelings and those things, like, they don't leave necessarily. Like, I think that, like, it really takes, like, something supernatural to kind of help with that situation. I mean, I still deal with a lot of hate in my heart, and I'm in a good situation now, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not in a bad place, but it's like, I didn't even go through anything not nearly like this. This is just unbelievable. This woman's story is just, wow. I can't even, wow. But just the things that women have to, you know, endure.
Abandon your body so no man can break it. I mean, it's the disassociation of your somatic disassociation is extremely common to women, especially if they almost turn against their own bodies because they almost blame their bodies for the actions,
the trouble that they're in.
Of the
I've had people tell me once a lot of stuff was happening to them that they then decided to just gain a bunch of weight. Multiple girls have told me that. They said, I gained a bunch of weight so that way I would be less appealing. And, you know, for some of them it worked, but now, you know, they're like, it would be nice to have not created those habits for myself, you know. But it's just, and when abuse comes from a family member, it's like that much deeper hurt in the soul.
It's just like the pain of a girl not having her dad.
Yep.
The pain of a girl being abandoned by her mother.
Yep.
Then you get moved to your grandparents. I'm assuming the grandmother didn't have much interest in her. She's letting her husband molest, rape, you know, whatever. It's just so many things stacked up against this girl. And, you know, then she has a son. Son gets given up for adoption. I don't know if she was even allowed to be a mother to this kid, or if the state just decided that you know, her son, that she would just be an unfit mother. She dropped out of school about the same time her grandmother died of liver failure. The child was placed for adoption. Okay, why was the child placed for adoption though? I don't know, but you know, it's just a crazy situation, you know. So there's just so much stacked against this girl. Like I don't understand what people expected of this woman and why there was no clemency for her.
So sad.
And you know, Jeb Bush helped to get her executed. I don't know. It's just a terrible situation, you know. And that's why I'm so against the death penalty. I'm so against it, you know. And then I guess her brother is saying she wasn't abused as a child, according to her big brother, which is a very common thing that happens in abuse. Is a denialism that happens.
It's her older brother? Yep.
The denialism that happens in families.
Yep.
So she just went around and just killed people for no reason. Went into sex work and all that. Had a, you know, completely fine life and all that. Okay. All right. Whatever you say, man. Anyway, I think the song is important. I think I don't know if she was like incarnating as a friend, or maybe she was schizophrenic. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, and so she was, you know, voicing the voice in her head or whatever.
I felt like it was the camaraderie of women,
or
and
just
the understanding that we all have that, like, if you just look at the story, you're like, wow, this lady killed 7 guys, like, and then she got on death row. Like, if it's just that cut and dry, then it's one thing. But when you start hearing her story and you realize what she went through, and then as women knowing what you've been through, then you look at that woman and you say, well, I'll tell you, I've had so much hate in my heart sometimes that, like, you know, and there's times where I wish that I could have done something about stuff that happened to me. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you know, this woman did it. You know, she took care of it. And, like, I don't like that she was killed. I don't like that she was incarcerated. I understand why our society has to say, well, you can't kill people. But at the same time, like, what happened to those guys? Like, what happened to those, you know, if she wouldn't have done that, like, what would have happened to them? You know what I mean? Like, I just think that they would have gotten off. Like, it would have been nothing. So I think that, you know, because she says, will you join me? Will you join me? Abandon your body so no man can break it. Like, I feel like she's trying to give advice to that other girl to say, like, this is what you have to do. Like, maybe this is what the author of this song had to do. She had to disassociate with her own body. She had to have those feelings so that way she could say, okay, like, you know, if I do all of this, and I've also heard women say stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, it's the whole, you know, where if the girl knows something bad is going to happen and then she kind of invites it to happen so that way she can kind of like be in control of what's happening, even though she's really not, like, she's, you know. So that to me was what it was. So, like, it was a really bizarre song, but then as it went, like, I could just, you know, she said, if the poison won't take you, my dogs will. Unburden yourself, no shadow will darken your door like mine will. I don't know, like, I felt like she was just, you know, she was feeling with this lady, and like, I was feeling with her, and like the whole, you know, women everywhere. And it was the same, like, when we were when we were at the concert for In This Moment, and she was up on the top of that thing, and like all of the girls were just, you know, singing that part together. Like, you could feel the pain in the crowd, and you could feel the, you know, the strength with each other. Unfortunately, women don't really I don't feel like women stand together and protect each other and stuff, and I wish that we did. I say the same for the Black community. I feel like you guys don't really stand together. So I think that, like, with women, it would be great if we did, but sometimes it's the women that are speaking the loudest. Like, some of the stuff that I went through, I don't understand how come, like, it's the women that are being the most unhelpful in the situation, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So when you get somebody that's, like, singing with this level of desperation, and in her soul she feels it, and she, like, I really, really like that. I'm like, okay, yes.
Yeah,
like,
this is like the rawest emotion I've ever heard.
And, like,
and then a lot of times it just took you off guard. There was no rhyme or reason to it.
And if you didn't know what, like, let's say she was singing about, like, paving the end of the driveway, and it was like a completely pointless song, you might think that her vocals didn't really sound that good, but because of what it was, it encapsulated such beauty that was unexpected because it was so necessary. But I just...
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. This is the worst song I've ever given 11 in my life. It's just a terrible song.
But worth an 11, I think.
Because it I don't know. This is probably the ugliest view into human nature I've seen in a song.
But then when you see something like this and you realize that this woman was abandoned by everyone, her grandparents, her parents, her brother, her, you know, society, everything, like, then you look at the...
How is this girl living in the woods and there's nobody that surrounds her with social workers and such to...
I know. But this is a long time ago.
I mean, what do you mean a long time? How long ago was it?
Well, I think that it was like probably like I think that it was the 60s when her father died and she was a couple years old, so... You know what I'm saying?
She's
like,
born in 56.
It's not like it is now.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just think that, like, when I look at these lyrics and I see how she's saying, like, God have mercy, when you've been abandoned by everyone and, like, they're all, like, all the women are kind of, like, coming together with that same feeling, and then you say to yourself, is it possible that we're living in a world that has no God, there will be no justice, there is no more comfort, there is nothing, and then this woman is put on death row and then she's gone into nothing? No, I don't think so. God have mercy. God have mercy on her. God have mercy on us. God have mercy on all of us. And I think that beginning and ending was absolutely perfect for it, because when I see stuff like this, like, I'm like, we have to have a God to be involved, because you can't trust, I mean, who did you say? What was that guy? Jeb? You can't trust,
Jeb
the
Bush.
Leaders of our country
Jeb Bush,
to make rational decisions.
Whose father and brother are responsible for the death of probably 1.5 million innocent people between the two of them.
Innocent.
Between the two of them.
Innocent.
And he feels that he
can sit up there on his high horse and judge this woman after everything that she'd been through.
Does that make sense to you?
Wow, I just can't even. Wow.
This doesn't say that about, like, we're supposedly pro-life. Republicans are supposedly pro-life.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Okay. I cannot tell you. You know, there's that quote from Jonathan Edwards, their judgment is not sleeping. These people that are pro-death, these right... Look, I'm not getting political. Focus on what I'm saying. People who say that they're pro-life, but at the same time, they support a guy like Jeb Bush, who's from a family that has caused the deaths of probably 1.5 million innocent people, including Americans. He gets to make a decision about the life of this woman.
Yep. Wow.
And he's pro-life. And we're gonna vote him in, and all these other people, they're all pro-life. And the Democrats are from Satan. The Democrats are satanic. My atheist friends, they're LGBT, everybody's satanic, they're horrible, they're on the side, but these guys are on the side of good and God. Like, these were her last words.
Oh, God.
I just like to say I'm sailing with the rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus on June 6th, like the movie Big Mothership and all. Hey, she mentioned Jesus, that's good enough for me.
That's
we'll see
right, because I think that she ordered her food and she didn't eat her dessert, and they asked her why she didn't eat her dessert. I think that might have been it. And then she said that she was going to be coming back or something like that. I don't know.
She may. She may. And that's the irony of this whole thing.
June 6th. I wonder why she said June 6th.
That's D-Day. June 6th was D-Day. Instead, she had a hamburger, some snack food, and coffee from the prison canteen. She declined her special meal.
Oh. Okay, maybe they just talked about what her last words were then. I don't know. All the stories are missing together.
She mentioned Jesus. And the world can call her a monster all they want. I think it was the world that's the monster.
I totally agree.
We're the monster.
Absolutely. Wow.
We're the monster.
Wow.
You allow something like that to happen to somebody. All right. I'm out of here. Love your neighbor.
Take care of each other.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.
So you join me? Will you join me? If you lay your life down, no man can take it. Will you join me? Will you join me? Make worthless your body so no man can break it. Humble yourself. If the poison won't take you, my dogs will. Unburden yourself. No shadow will darken